Hi, everybody. Welcome to Raising Vibrations. So, I am very excited to be doing this video. I have been wanting to share the way that I go about looking at an astrology chart, the way I go about actually unlocking the wisdom and learning astrology in a deeply somatic way. If you've been watching some of the previous videos that I've been doing, you've been seeing that I've been really speaking to the importance of integrating a sensory experience to your astrological learning practice, and that we are missing out on a huge potential to not only engage the senses and awaken the cosmos within you, but also to be able to then utilize that insight and that connection to apply to your own astrological studies and unlocking a more enriching experience, but also how you can give that experience to other people when you're doing readings for them. So there's a tremendous amount of value in being able to integrate this experience into your practice. And I gave you two examples of how you could sort of get started with that, which is one of the most important ones was just reorientate your perception to looking and studying astrology in real life, like actually seeing astrology in nature and in scenarios and in situations, because you are literally going to be full of abundant stories, scenarios, and situations to learn from, right? I mean, if that's not the biggest and freest book of knowledge, I don't know what is. Then it was the ability to actually then apply what you are learning in situations in life. Like, for instance, using the wisdom of the Aries archetype to facilitate a psychological paralysis that usually comes with the Virgo collapse. Oh no, I'm in a crisis. I'm stuck. Where do I go? What do I do? And Aries says, just be present and show up and move in a direction and it will start to unfold. I mean, that's literally the relationship between these two planets. So all of that is very powerful, but it doesn't get you to be able to actually train to be the astrologer that you want to be if you're wanting to facilitate deep, powerful readings for people. And it doesn't also allow you to instantly just gain the wisdom and the insights that you can experience from all the other archetypes. It's a great starting point. So that's what I mean when I say that I'm excited to share this with you, because now you will then have this full spectrum of the process that I work with. Now, the 4-step process looks like this, okay? The first step that you take when you are going to be learning somatically, right? And when you're going to be beginning the story of unlocking the wisdom in the chart is break things down to the most core essence, okay? Make it simple. Why do we make it simple? Because when you make your approach to a astrological sign like Venus and Aries, for example, or trying to figure out what your Saturn and Capricorn means, when you make it simple and you reduce it to what is it that I'm actually studying here? What is it that I'm actually looking at here? And you pinpoint to what the essence is, not only do you get rid of the noise of all of the mind's chatter to say, well, it could be this, it could be that, I read this, but to actually get to the essence of what it is that you're actually studying, like the core of it. And then from there, you build up. This is important because when you have the essence and you have the core, you can start to then allow yourself to see where these experiences exist in reality, as I shared before. This is important. It actually leads me to the next step. The next step in the process would be then to start to open up your perception and see the pattern of this essence in reality. Because I can tell you right now that this pattern, this essence that you are awakening, that you're connecting with, is embedded in films, it's embedded in story, it's embedded in novels and books, it's embedded in film, like TV episodes, in our culture, and particularly the way that we express art and the way that we express story and storytelling. These archetypes are so alive and enriched. So pattern recognition is your next step. Make it simple. And you do this because then you clear out all of the noise and you really understand what you're actually studying. Then start to look for where you see the pattern in reality. And as I said again, there's going to be an arc, right? With just Saturn and Capricorn as an example. There's going to be an arc where there is a character in a film that has this very deep burden. right? They carry a burden with them of responsibility that they're trying to wrestle with in their life, and they get all this responsibility. And what is that journey like? We as humans relate to story. We relate to myth. We relate to films and characters that are playing out these stories because we are living these stories too, and that's the gift. This is about awakening the stories within you. This is about connecting to the stories within you. And your mind already knows how to recognize those stories in the film because you understand the essence. The difference is you're learning now to see the essence for yourself. Okay. Now, in step 3, what you're going to learn and what you need to learn is you have to bring it back to yourself. You have to make it local. So the process of memory recall allows you to go back to the stories of where you've lived, burden, responsibility, as an example, and then touch with the feelings, connect with how that was for you using your sensory perception. Now what you're doing is you're awakening the inner sense of your wisdom, of your experience and your understanding of the archetype within yourself. Notice you didn't actually use any books. You just simply used the things that are already available to you in abundance: story, making it simple, pattern recognition, and your own life experience. Once you have been able to connect to that life experience and you've woken up, that's the why part. You want to do this step because you awaken the essence and the wisdom within you. You realize, oh my God, I have an abundance of this wisdom. Step 4, and this is where the fun begins, is that you become engaged. You have seen the pattern, you've made it simple, you know what the essence is, so you can see it in reality. At step 4, you awaken this process of engagement. You are now engaging in life, you're engaging in your story, you're engaging in your experiences, and you're doing what is called active inference, which is you're allowing yourself to be able to engage based on the way that you are mapping a reality. This awakens an entirely new field of perception and allows you to actually see the thing I'm talking about. We do this because when you're living out these stories and you've connected to that, not only are you able to move forward and engage in new experiences with this wisdom, you're also able to then recalibrate the past memory of experiences, unlock maybe where you haven't felt that you've had closure on situations or you haven't understood a dilemma. Like, for instance, if you've gone through a Uranus transit, now all of a sudden you can start to think back to those Uranian experiences and see, aha, the essence of Uranus is this. Here's where I've seen that pattern, so I know what I'm looking for. I remember this experience, and now I can go back to that and see, that's why that happened, right? We can get clarity. We can even move on from certain dilemmas that we've struggled to move on with because we haven't really fully understood them. And so our life becomes more enriching because we see it in this more multidimensional way. And as I said, that's where the power lies. It awakens this deeper state of consciousness. Now, the cool thing about this whole entire process is that it's not just about learning signs like Aries and Virgo. You can literally apply this to all of the other aspects of learning evolutionary astrology or just learning astrology. Like, for instance, there's an essence with the trine, and you can see the trine pattern in a film, and you probably will be able to have a memory or recall on where the trine experience was in your life. And now you can actually move forward and apply that understanding not only to your future experiences, but also into the past. So the aspects, many of you have come to the astrology, looked at all those aspects and said, oh, what does that aspect mean between this planet and this planet? Well, now you can actually unlock that process by understanding the step-by-step process. Planetary pairs. Have you ever thought about that planets have pairs like the sun and the moon? When you synthesize these two together, you have an entirely new understanding of how these two planets work in your consciousness. You can apply this to, as I said, aspects and phases. You can apply this to yodes. You can apply this to transits. You can apply this to retrogrades. All of these ways that we come into astrology have got these essences in them, which means that you're no longer just bound to, okay, well, now I understand the wisdom and the Aries thing, but what does the trine mean? And that is where this becomes so potent and so enriching to our lives. And that's why I said I'm so excited for this, because this is where astrology can be taken to. This is a potential here. Okay, so that is my 4-step process. Simplify it so that you can clear out the noise and know what you're looking for. See the pattern and learn about the pattern through storytelling and films, connect with it. Then do memory recall that allows you to connect with it within yourself and see where the wisdom of your own experiences lived. All right, that's how you learn through the somatic process. And then that naturally awakes step 4, which is then to actively engage in these experiences in a way that is for your past, but also how you can utilize the wisdom going forward in your life. Right. And now you have a navigation tool that is ultimately at your fingertips. And that, again, as I said, is where the power lies. So that's the step-by-step process. And I really hope that that opens you up to the potential, and that also seeing that there's a lot more to this, right? There's a lot more to learning the astrology than simply just, looking at the astrology and saying, okay, it's in nature, right? There is an actual process that you're going to go through. So that is what I'm going to be actually teaching in the Evolutionary Astrology Immersion. And that is where the real benefit for you comes in, is because I'll show you exactly how to apply that method to each of these things, how to apply it with retrogrades, how to apply it with the archetypes, how to apply it with transits, so that by the time you've actually come through this entire process, I've guided you through this experience. And when you come to the end, you'll be like, wow, I can look at my astrology chart in a way that is completely different. So I'm going to leave a link for the Evolutionary Astrology Immersion. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Okay. If you're interested in wanting to learn more about that process, we're actually going to be releasing that on the 26th of March. So we're going to go through the whole entire process. And I've been sending out some information to those that are already on the waitlist as well, just telling you a little bit more. So if you want to get involved in that, and you also want to get an early bird invitation, then put your name on the waitlist. Okay. Fantastic. All right, my friends, thanks very much for listening to this. There is another video coming out, which I want to actually take you on a journey and show you somebody that has actually gone through this process before and how that has actually changed their life. And that, to me, is something that I feel is very inspirational, when you actually watch somebody transform their life because they've begun to integrate a somatic learning process. So that's in the next video. Be sure to look out for that. And until that video, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.